Hey, good morning. Welcome to Throwing Shade. Look, if I were going to give this a title, and I guess I am, it would be Houston, We Have a Problem. But it started in Mississippi. A little history lesson. Now, before I go into that, I want to make sure you understand that the motivation behind throwing shade is to get people to think with a wider spectrum. When they see issues, we tend to want to compartmentalize them into something that is familiar. What I want people to do, and what I'm hoping to be able to do through throwing shade, is get people to broaden their lens so they can see some of the broader, maybe nuanced implications of the things that are happening today. Case in point. The whole idea of this problem started in Mississippi has to do with a woman named Carol Bryant. Now, if you have studied your history, if you've read any Southern history, you would know that Carol Bryant was a 22-year-old woman who accused Emmitt Till of sexually assaulting her in a grocery store. The result of that accusation was the brutal murder of Emmitt Till, who was only 14 years old. Beaten, brutalized, to gain national attention because his mother asked that there be an open casket at a nationally publicized funeral, meaning that the entire world was able to see how brutalized and disfigured the body of Emmitt Till was. But based on the accusation of a young white woman, he was not only murdered, brutalized, and mutilated, but the men who did it served no time in jail. No time. In addition to that, years later, Carol Bryant, then Carol Dunham, said that part of the story, part of her accusation, her testimony, was not true. That the things she accused Emmitt Till of, he did not do. She ended her interview with Time magazine saying that boy didn't deserve to die the way he did. A little late. Here's the point. Anytime there are people of power who want to bring down African American men, and particularly African American athletes, there always seems to be an accusation by a woman of European descent, white, and it carries this ominous air about it. It is just enough of a dog whistle to rise the anger of people who are already latently angry about the idea of a young black man being a multimillionaire at the age of 25. So the accusations that were made against the Houston quarterback DeShaun Watson, there were 7 women who made the accusations. Now, the court records will reveal that when DeShaun Watson would recruit or when he would employ a massage therapist, he would send them a text or a message laying out exactly what he wanted or expected in a massage. He would tell them the areas that needed additional work and would ask in every text in evidence that we have seen if that masseuse was comfortable with that. It's a disclaimer, is what we call it from a legal standpoint, but he lays it all out there so people understand. So when DeShaun Watson decided that he didn't want to play football in Houston any longer, the Texans had an option. They could cut him loose and eat roughly $39 million of his guaranteed money, or if they could find that he had violated the conduct policy of his contract, according to the National Football League, they could void his contract and have it cost them nothing. So what's on the line is $39 million from 7 women who not only didn't go to the police, but never made any complaint until the contract dispute arose between the Houston Texans and DeShaun Watson. That makes me just a little more than skeptical. But Houston has a problem. You know, James Harden used to play in Houston. The number of athletes that have left Houston, black athletes that have left Houston, it has been a steady stream of people leaving. It's a cultural issue. I would argue the last sustainable black athlete from the state of Texas was Akeem Olajuwon. And that was years ago. As a matter of fact, currently, the most popular athlete in the state of Texas, I would argue, is Luka Doncic. And since then, his predecessor. But the point being is this: Houston has a problem. They don't think they have a problem. I mean, even the negotiations that were drawn out for Dak Prescott, who was leading the league in all the, not intangibles, but the tangibles as a quarterback, nevertheless had an extended wait and extended negotiations to get what he deserved in terms of a contract. All of this doesn't give me an air of confidence of the attitude of the people in the state of Texas or in the folks in Houston. I believe that there's a deeper issue here. But what I know, I'm just throwing shade. Thanks for spending time with me this morning. I look forward to seeing you next week.